So for the rest of this week, I will be rewarding some players with $1.25 million in shark card codes. If you want to participate in this giveaway, I will leave a link to the tweet in the description below where you guys can find more information about this giveaway and of course enter into it yourself. Hey, what is going on guys? My name is Nort, and in today's episode we are going to take a look at the predicted prices for the BIKERS update, so you guys will have some sort of feel about how much money you are going to need for this DLC when it does come out. We're going to be using past experiences with some things Rockstar Games have previously introduced, as well as the market estimations as well. In addition, we're also going to come up with a pretty accurate number at the end of this video, which should put into some perspective exactly how much money you guys are going to need to spend on this update, and hopefully you will have some estimation so you can start saving up for that amount of money. And I've got a pretty good idea of how much money you guys are going to need, so I do hope you enjoy this episode, and if you do, please don't leave without smashing that like button, especially if you found this useful as well, as it would be very much appreciated. Anyway, starting things off, if you didn't see the Newswire post yesterday, Rockstar Games actually announced the much anticipated BIKERS DLC, and this will include a motorcycle club which is very similar to CEO organizations, apart from you can actually hire up to 8 people in your motorcycle clubs, and with this you'll be able to introduce new roles to play for fresh prospects to club presidents, with a massive slate of new competitive and co-op gameplay, along with a range of new motorcycles, properties that include MC clubhouses with a special custom biker mechanic, and venues for seedy business ventures. In addition, with this update we're also going to be seeing a range of opportunities to climb the ranks with a gang and build a lucrative business as a formidable MC. And BIKERS also include a selection of appropriately themed new modes for bikers of all kinds, along with new weapons, styles, tattoos, features to make this a huge addition to the world of GTA Online. And it further mentions how this is going to add a foothold onto CEOs and VIP organizations, so it's basically going to be a branch of that. But the main DLCs I'm going to be comparing the BIKERS update to is actually going to be the Further Adventures in Finance and Felony and the GTA Lowriders update. If you guys remember that, it was about a year ago since we got that update, and there's a lot of similarities between this one and that one, and I'll explain why, and I'll explain exactly how we can make some price predictions using the Lowriders update, as well as the Finance and Felony DLC. And this is because, to start things off, right at the very start, Rockstar Games mention that properties will include MC clubhouses, which will have a special custom biker mechanic. So the way Rockstar Games laid this out is giving you a hint that to start everything off, to get your 8-player motorcycle club, to get your biker gang, you're going to need some sort of meetup place. And this is of course a property which will include MC clubhouses, which will of course include its own special custom biker mechanic. And this is where the comparison between the Finance and Felony update comes in, because in order to get your CEO organization started, you need to have your own office. So very similar to that, it looks like right at the very start, if you are interested in getting involved with this DLC, you're more than likely going to have to purchase your own property, which will include an MC clubhouse, which will also include the special custom biker mechanic, so you guys can customize these vehicles. So the main bulk of this update is pretty much something you guys are going to have to initially purchase, and there's probably going to be, and it is plural here, it is properties, there's most likely going to be more than one property which you guys can purchase. Some of them are going to be very low style, nothing too grand, nothing too prestigious, something maybe in just a random shack somewhere, just a very cheap rundown place. You could probably get somewhere for a few $100,000 as opposed to the most expensive and most prestigious clubhouse, which will cost you maybe north of $1 million or maybe just over $1 million. So straight away you guys are going to be spending around $1 million if you want to grab yourself the best clubhouse. If you want to get the cheapest one, it's definitely going to cost you a few $100,000 just to get yourself started. But this is where I'm going to make the comparison between the Lowriders update, because what I truly believe is that the way Rockstar Games worded this is that it's going to be extremely similar to the Lowriders update, in which we got all of these awesome cheap vehicles which then cost a lot to customize. So if you guys are just interested in the motorcycles, and from what we can see already, there's certainly 3 new motorcycles, the Zombie, the Western Demon, the Wayfarer. These are certainly 3 brand new motorcycles, and of course there's most likely going to be a few more as well, ranging from half a dozen to even a dozen motorcycles in this update, somewhere between 6 and 12 or so. And I can totally imagine all of these are going to be extremely cheap to buy. But if you guys are interested in customizing them, then for once you're going to have a clubhouse, which is going to cost you a few $100,000. You're then going to have to get your own biker mechanic, which is also going to cost you a few $100,000, as we have seen with Benny in Benny's Original Motorworks, who initially charges you $400,000 or so just to unlock his customizations, and then the customizations themselves are going to cost you a further few $100,000 until you spent about $1 million per bike just customizing them. So that is exactly where, in my opinion, you guys are going to spend the main bulk of your money. But of course, if you are just interested in the vehicles, then you're not going to need any of the properties, you're not going to need the biker mechanic, and if this is like the Lowriders update, and judging from the market value of motorcycles right now, the majority of them are under $500,000, and just taking a look at the gargoyle as well, something which I would regard as very similar to some of these bikes, I don't think you're going to be spending too much money on them. 100, 200,000 at most. I would be extremely surprised if any of them, maybe one or two of them or so, but I would be extremely surprised if any were above $500,000. So at base value, you guys could probably get these motorcycles pretty cheap, because once again, motorcycles are pretty cheap in GTA Online. You can get your hands on some pretty good ones for a pretty good price, and overall the market for motorcycles hasn't been sky high at all, given the Electro, which of course costs quite a bit of money. Everything else is pretty cheap, and I don't think anyone has really complained about the values of motorcycles in GTA Online. So for that very reason, I think you guys can be spending as little as $100,000 or maybe less just to purchase some of these brand new motorcycles. But if you wanted to purchase everything in this update to start things off with properties, clubhouses, as well as customizations, I think that together, just those three things, will cost you around $10 million. That is just purchasing all of the motorcycles, the clubhouses, as well as the customization features on motorcycles. So anywhere from $10 to $12 million or so. That is, in my opinion, a pretty good prediction just for those main things. But of course, if you want to purchase just the motorcycles, I think you could probably get every single one for less than $2 million. Depending on how many there are will of course depend on the price, but I really think they're not going to cost you too much money. And then of course there comes the petty things such as the tattoos, the hairstyles, the features, the new weapons, as well as the clothing items as well. That, in my opinion, is probably going to cost you around $2-3 million or so. Clothing items, believe it or not, do cost a lot of money. You can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for just outfits in clothing stores. So although things might seem pretty cheap, and although you guys probably won't expect to spend too much money, by the time you leave a clothes store, you probably spent at least $1 million. So in my opinion, I think weapons, hairstyles, tattoos, clothes stores, etc., I think all of them are going to cost you $2 to $3 million. And something which many players forget about is you're also going to be paying 7 people to be in your 8-player just biker gang. So if you want to have your own biker gang, you're gonna have to pay the people to be in your gang, as we have seen with VIP organizations as well as CEO organizations. You have to pay the people to be there. And also when opportunities come, you're probably going to be putting money on the line as well, just to add some risk to that opportunity in case you guys do fail it. So all in all, if you were to put one price tag on this update, I'm going to put something maybe just a bit south of $15 million. And it sounds crazy because this DLC doesn't seem expensive. But trust me guys, when it comes down to it, the customization features for the motorcycles, the clothing items, the clubhouses themselves, they're gonna cost a lot of money. So if you guys are interested in spending money, then yeah, go ahead, get involved with this DLC. But fortunately for you guys, this is also most likely going to be a very cheap DLC. If none of you are interested in having your own clubhouse, if no one wants to have their own gang, if no one wants to have their own customizations, then you could probably get the bikes at a very cheap price. So if you want to just get the bikes, don't worry, Rockstar have probably got you covered guys. Just like the Lowriders update, things do come very cheaply. But the moment you want to customize them, the moment you want to change things on them, that is where you guys are going to be spending the money. Anyway, I would love to know your thoughts in the comments section below about this update. How much money do you think you guys are going to be spending on this DLC? Like I said, my prediction is just south of $15 million. But But once again, I would love to know your thoughts in the comments section below. Anyway guys, unfortunately that is all I've got time for today. If you did enjoy this episode, please don't leave without smashing that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new here, and let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys next time.